Welcome to the Beverage Podcast. The Buffalo. I'm a demon.
Welcome to the Beverage Podcast, coming to you live from a haunted house.
Yeah!
Haunted house.
On location.
Marcus and I got dared to stay the night in this haunted house, so we decided to do the podcast here. We
It's a
ain't
good idea.
scared.
We ain't scared.
Got our depends on,
That's right.
and we can depend on them.
That's right. They're very dependable depends. Ha!
Oh, you're fired. Tell me, Marcus. Tell me one thing.
Yeah?
What'd you do this week? Anything?
Not
Turned
really.
into an airplane?
Yeah, I did. No, not a whole lot happened for me this week. Did a lot of working and I did play some more Mario Maker and some other video games. So that's pretty much the extent of my nerdality.
Mm-hmm. You didn't read anything or watch anything or listen to anything or twerk that booty?
Can't remember if that was last week or this week. It was Resurrection F last week. Did we talk about that last week? Okay. Then no.
Well, I've been watching an anime on Hulu. It's on Hulu for free, thankfully. It's called One Punch Man.
Mm.
It's about a superhero in Japan. He's so strong that he defeats everyone in just one punch. But he wants to have a good fight, so he's too strong. So it's just like these elaborate like monsters. There's this one where like this mosquito lady was like taking over the town with. She was like absorbing people's blood, or like she was sending swarms of mosquitoes and like sucking up people dry, and then she would absorb all the blood that they had. And it was like this cyborg guy was trying to fight her, and there was like this scene of One Punch Man like quickly trying to catch one mosquito in his apartment, but he kept missing. And it was just like faster than you could see, just like clap, 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 trying to get it. And then it's like the cyborg guy's like having a really hard time fighting the mosquito, and then One Punch Man shows up, and he's like about to finish off the cyborg, and he just like with one hit, just like slap. There's just like blood splattered all over the wall. He's just like, what the heck? It's really good. It's interesting how they use where you think he finally found a good opponent, and like. It's not boring. You think someone who always wins would be kind of boring, but it's cool.
That sounds interesting. Might have to check that out.
The art's really good, like the animation. And the fight scenes have to be good.
You said it's on the free version of Hulu?
Yeah. It's One Punch Man. Just look it up.
Check it out.
So, let's get into it, boy.
Yeah, boy!
A spooky Halloween episode.
Halloween!
So this week,
the
Jessica Jones trailer finally dropped.
Jones!
Shut your goddamn mouth. What'd you think of that Jessica Jones trailer? Did you like it?
That's pretty
You
awesome.
haven't watched Daredevil yet, have you?
No, I haven't watched Daredevil.
Well, this is the next one. Jessica Jones is the next one. It comes out in November.
It seemed very interesting. I always forget that Jessica Jones wasn't Spider-Woman, was she?
No, that's Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew, okay. That always confuses me, but it looked cool. Like, it seemed like it's like kind of dark and gritty and could be really neat.
I said this one's the darkest one yet.
I still don't like David Tennant, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
I think he was the scariest part of that trailer. Just like there was no like effect for his, because he's playing the Purple Man.
Mm-hmm.
So this Purple Man can like control you with like just by talking to you to tell you what to do. I figured there'd be like some sort of like creepy voice effect, but no, he's just talking. This is the creepiest part. Just like anything he could say, he could control you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how he
says
says
in the trailer. He just walks up to someone's house and knocks, and then he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Aren't you gonna invite me? Can I come in?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." I'm just like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Invite
Scary.
me in. Okay, come in. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
I'm excited. And I think this one takes place before the Luke Cage one, so Luke Cage doesn't have his powers yet.
How did Luke Cage isn't a mutant? Did he get him by some other means?
He was in prison, and he got while he volunteered for like experiments to like shorten his sentence or something, and it was like a super soldier thing. So he got his powers that way.
That's pretty righteous.
Oh, baby.
Baby.
Any parts of the trailer that stood out to you?
Baby. Not really. I thought the whole trailer overall was really good, actually. Usually I'm not that impressed by trailers, but it was cool.
Sorry, I'm sticking your pen in my sock. I just thought this isn't my pen. Why I shouldn't do that?
It's okay. You can have it. It's all yours.
It's mine now, bitch.
I did think it was really cool when the Purple Man walked up to that dude at the door and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna invite me in?" And he walked in. That was cool.
I'm not sure if she could fly in this one, but she jumps high. That's for sure.
So is she pretty much like Miss Marvel in powers? Like she's strong and
she's strong and she can fly. I'm not sure if she's bulletproof. I don't know. She thinks she jokes as like she doesn't want to find out if she's bulletproof.
Gotcha.
Because there's a scene of her like lifting up that car and throwing people through windows, and she jumps up onto a scaffolding. I don't know if she could fly, but
yeah,
she flies in the comics, but she's not very good at it.
I thought the characters all seemed legit. Like they fit the parts well. It almost seemed like I was watching a documentary rather than a movie or a TV show or whatever. So that's always cool.
Yeah.
When I can forget that people are not acting there, or that I can forget that people are acting.
And she puts Tony Shark to shame in the alcoholism department.
Awesome.
She says she was in the trailer. She's like working to afford beer. She was in that bar.
Working hard for the money.
Can't afford all this booze. Yeah, I'm excited. But I'm always excited for Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Excited for Daredevil. I'm excited for season 2. It comes out in spring, I think. I'm good, Daredevil. Yeah. And then they confirm Mark Ruffalo. If we talked about this last week, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Mark Ruffalo confirms he's going to be in Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
What do you think about that? Do you think Hulk should be in a Thor movie? But everyone's in Captain America Civil War, so...
Yeah. I don't
more...
see why not. I mean, if you need help, especially if you're dealing with like Thor stuff, they're always like ridiculous creatures that are amazing, and you always got to fight like larger than life people. So, who else would you bring in other than the Hulk? Yeah,
he hasn't really been doing. He's not going to do anything until Avengers.
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool with that. I liked reading the interview thing where he was talking about maybe getting a little more in depth with the Hulk character, where they have like conversations back and forth and stuff like that, or even seeing him. Yeah, or like he said with like Loki, when Loki splits him into 2 separate people or whatever in the comics, and I don't know if they're going to do something like that or just...
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I didn't actually read it. I just copy and pasted the headline.
Yeah, it was a pretty good article. I actually read it this time, but it wasn't very long. It just pretty much was him talking about that. And
right. I think it'll be fun. I mean, we've seen Thor and the Hulk fight before, but...
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the Ragnarok movie is actually going to be about, too.
It's usually about they all die. I think Surtur's might be in it. He's a big part of that. He's like the main bad guy. So maybe Thor will die in this one. I don't know.
Maybe
Hulk will become the new Thor.
But
I'm the best
around.
No one's
gonna give it up. That was beautiful harmonization.
Thank you. I don't know. What else? I don't know. I guess we're done with that topic. Blazing through them.
Blazing.
They showed the full-length Joker pick.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of it?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, but I also want to wait and see the movie before I decide on it. I don't know. It's kind of like, man.
The
That's
pic
kind of
is
my
like
best
he's
answer.
wearing like a purple leather jacket and like sweatpants.
Yeah.
He's no shirt. He has a cane. Was he wearing shoes? I think it's
I
like
don't
he just
think so.
escaped from like Arkham or something.
Yeah, his sweatpants say Arkham on them.
Oh, yeah, they do?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. Well, then he did, so.
Yeah.
Almost they're like super comfy. One time I was at the courthouse, and I had to. It was for I think it was when I got bit by a dog, and the guy had to like come in and like settle for my medical bills or something, and I wore shorts to the courthouse. You're not supposed to do that, so one of the officers was like, "You need to come and put some pants on."
Mm-hmm.
And so he gave me like the orange
Nice.
prisoner pants. And my mom, she got a little scared because they thought that they were taking me to jail. Because the guy was told to come and get somebody to take to jail, and then he came to me, or like one of the guys did, and he was like, "No, don't take my son away." So he gave me the orange pants to put on, but it didn't turn out. I didn't even need to testify. But they were really comfortable.
Nice.
So I was like, maybe if they're comfortable, just keep them, just wear them.
Mm-hmm. True.
Which is a good reason to go to prison.
Right. Go to prison.
Wear the sweatpants.
The pants are comfy.
Comfy clothes.
Comfy clothes.
They just released They released the Deadshot one with Will Smith, and he looks better than he had. Like this plastic white mask that covered his whole face. He looked kind of dumb, but it was just him with like the little eyepiece, and he looked pretty good. And Harley Quinn is. I mean, it's not the comic version, so no one's ever going to be happy. But this isn't really a comic version of the universe. So, then they did the Enchantress cover, which is whatever. I don't even know who that is.
Me neither.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be like a love triangle between Deadshot and Harley and Joker. But
yeah, jury's still out for me. I'm not super excited about it, but I'm gonna be willing to give it a shot. So
yeah, I'll see it, but yeah, I'm not super duper excited just because the entire DC movie universe isn't very exciting to me.
Yeah, it's been pretty awful.
Yeah, even though there's only been like Man of Steel and Green Lantern.
Both
I don't think
have been,
Green Lantern's canon for their universe, though.
I hope not.
It is. No! That was your first scare of the episode. That was just a joke, guys. Settle down.
Was a ghost. The ghost of terrible movies past.
The ghost said that. Oh, okay. I'll do the question. I was going to say this for later, but brazen. I still said it wrong.
Brazen.
We're bracing through these. Brazzering through these. If you could have any costume that was completely accurate, what would it be? It could be completely impossible if you want.
Crap. I was thinking about this last night, but I never came to a conclusion on it. What about you, Tucker?
I want to be a skeleton, a real skeleton that moves around.
That could be amazing.
Like with no bones or anything, just like me wearing my clothes. Just my bones, and I can still move and everything.
Still function as you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do normal things, not like go out or anything, just like be a skeleton.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of... My mind always like immediately flashes to Boba Fett. I want like a straight up
That
Mandalorian
works.
armor costume with the
want
jetpack.
I want a 2-scale Galactus costume. I'll wear it with Boba Fett. All right. That was a good one. Tell us at home. You could have any costume. It doesn't have to be realistic or actually be feasible like my skeleton or my Galactus. But what would you want to have?
Yeah, you can even be...
I really do want to know.
Yeah, this would be fun to know. I'm looking right at you, people. I'm looking
We're
right at the
through
computer.
the microphone. We can see you. We can see your ears. They're disgusting. You need to clean them.
Gross!
So, let us know. Leave a comment.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Let us know.
Let me know.
Hey, wait.
What?
Did you hear that? I think there's something over in that spooky hallway.
That's weird. Should we go check it out?
We should go investigate.
Let's go check it out.
And
Okay.
we should probably split up while we go.
I'll go north, you go south.
Okay. You take the flashlight and I'll take the candle.
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll
be right back. We're going to go.
We're going to go to commercial. This is our special, so we have a sponsor. Those other ones kind of fell through. They didn't really like our show, so we have new sponsors now.
This guy seems solid. So
this guy is pretty cool. So
yeah,
we'll go to commercial, and we'll be right back. Hopefully we'll be back.
Do you have a house on a spooky hill, but you think it could be a little more spooky? Do you have a creepy hedge maze that isn't quite creepy enough? Are you hosting another dimensional fighting tournament, but the password to your final confrontation just isn't quite as malevolent as you think it could be?
Well, come on down to Big Myrtle's Discount Spooky Statue Emporium. We got scary statues, spooky statues, creepy suits of armor, skeletons. We got statues of people being killed and tortured. We even have bare pedestals for the scary chameleon monsters who like to turn into statues, and then when their victims turn their backs, they reveal that they are actually not a statue. And then I get really scared because I was like, hey, I thought that guy was a statue, and I had to call my mom and talk to her for about like 20 minutes, and she's like, it's just a movie, mijo, and I'm like, no! I saw that guy that pedestal, it's not a movie. And much more! So come to Big Myrtle's Discount Spooky Statues on the corner of Blood Lake and Martin Luther King Boulevard. Remember, that's Big Myrtle's Discount Spooky Statues Emporium, where every customer gets a free night filled with never-ending nightmares.
Results may vary. Big Myrtle's is not responsible for any scrapes, abrasions, trauma, both physical or psychological, that may take place while visiting Big Myrtle's. Big Myrtle's is not responsible for your statue being cursed, haunted, secretly alive, or has a thirst for human blood/murder. All purchases are final.
And we're back.
We
Did a little exploring. I couldn't find the source of the sound.
Yeah, but we did find this really cool library.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've
It's
moved all our
pretty
stuff
cool.
into here.
And he had some technical issues.
Yeah.
Some the microphone started floating, and that's perfectly. That happens all the time.
Yeah, I was possessed for a minute, but it was cool.
Oh, it's fine.
That's
He
fine.
worked it out.
Yeah, we're good.
But unfortunately, I lost all the prompts.
Yeah.
I had a paper that had all the prompts on it. I was looking out the window to see the source of a sound, and a coyote popped his head up and stole the paper. And he started laughing as he ran away. It was a human laugh, so I decided not to mess with that. I didn't want to mess with that.
Yeah, nobody does. That was a good decision.
So I just locked the window. And so instead of talking about superheroes, we decided that we picked some spooky books.
Spooky books, yeah.
Over this library, in the spooky library, it's actually a hidden one. I was going to tie my shoe, and I leaned on this candelabra, and it pulled it, and then it opened this wall.
It was awesome.
Yep. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's dusty, but it smells like old books. I feel like I'm...
Marcus, I think you found a nice book.
I did.
You want to read us a little story from it. What's the name of the book, first off?
The book is called Tales from the Past.
Tales from the Past.
Yeah.
Very accurate.
Right, yeah. And this very interesting tale I'm going to tell is called Reap Salige.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Sounds Spanish. Is Shakira in it?
Yes.
Shakira!
Okay. So,
The ghost of Shakira's career is in the script tonight.
let's begin this story. It's a
begin.
short story. I think it's by James Joyce. It was a day like any other day. The bats were chirping, the dogs were howling, and the children were crying. A normal day in the life of Arthur P. Fortsworth. Arthur was a world-renowned scientist. His primary area of study was an exaggerated theory. Arthur had just celebrated his 45th birthday and was feeling a bit down about his current stage of life. Arthur wanted adventure. He already had a huge house, a family, and all the fame a person could ask for, but there was still something missing. On this particular day, a package came in the mail. An unexpected package.
Oh, no.
Right? Arthur was the only person home at the time the package came, so he took it to his study. He set it down on his desk and sat down in his office chair. He was trying to decide if he was going to open it or send it back, since it didn't have his name on it. Even though there was no name on it, the package was addressed to his address. It had a little bit of weight to it, and it smelled oddly sweet but bitter at the same time. After a few minutes of deliberation, Arthur decided he would open the package.
What?
Nothing, we're fine. He pulled out his pocket knife and started cutting down the center of the packing tape. The tape was cut, and Arthur opened the flaps of the box to reveal a very peculiar item, a mummified skull of an ancient Egyptian falcon, and a rolled-up scroll.
Oh.
Interesting. Peculiar, Arthur exclaimed. Arthur unraveled the scroll, but there was no writing on it, only what seemed like centuries of dust. Suddenly, a loud voice filled the room. "Study the dark arts!"
Oh, goodness.
Suddenly, the scroll burst into flames. Arthur ran to get the fire extinguisher down the hallway. When he returned to extinguish the flames, he noticed the fire was out, and there were no signs of burns on the desk, only an old book with a strange symbol on the front. Arthur, being a good scientist, decided to open the book and see what this was all about. On the first page, there was a picture of a skull matching the skull on the box, and with these words written on it, "Study the dark arts."
Oh, no.
This is an ancient resurrection text. This is the excitement I've been looking for. Arthur began to study the ancient text in depth. After studying for what seemed like days, Arthur fell into a deep sleep. He began to have very strange dreams. In his dream, Arthur was transformed into the Egyptian. Try that again. Into the Egyptian god Chronophos, the hot god of time.
The hot god of time.
Hawk god of time.
Hawk.
Hawk,
I
yeah.
thought you said hot.
No.
He's a hot god.
Hot
Yeah.
god. Caw. No, the hawk god of time.
Okay.
In his dream, Arthur was transformed into the Egyptian god. Oh, I already said that part. Sorry, I lost my place. He is the hawk god. He flew high into the sky above his town, past his children's school, and the church where he was married, and finally came to rest on the roof of his own home. He watched time pass quickly. The trees grew to immense size in a matter of seconds. The grass grew tall like a wild field, but a dark shadow loomed over his home. While perched on his home, he saw his family transformed from the life-filled, loving family he knew to skeletons right before his eyes. The world morphed into a wasteland of death, destruction, and mayhem, with colors he had never seen. Suddenly, a mirror appeared before him, floating in the sky like a cloud. He saw his own reflection, a ghoul with burning red eyes, skeleton hands, and blood pouring out of his mouth like the Nile River. Crippled by despair and grief, Arthur burst into tears and started pleading to the heavens, "Let this be no more! What evil have I done to deserve such a fate?" And suddenly the ground around him began to shake. The house he was standing on started to crumble under his feet. Arthur was now in free fall to the ground. Arthur fell for what seemed like days. He was falling towards the burning inferno of torture and despair, and on impact, he woke in his study. His heart was beating like a rabbit after a turf war. Arthur then noticed that the strange box and items on his desk were not as he initially perceived. The box, skull, and ancient texts were nothing more than a box of Captain Crunch, a bowl of milk, and a vial of LSD. Arthur had a serious acid trip while watching Super Jail. The end.
He wasn't a scientist at all. He was just some high kid
Yeah.
or guy.
Yeah.
Did he even have a family?
I don't know. It's not listed in there. James Joyce does like to write with some mystery, so.
Well, I hated that story. There's too much mystery in it. Too spooky.
Oh,
did
the
you hear
elephant
that?
ghost.
Did you bring your elephant to the haunted house, Evan?
I couldn't help
Marcus?
it. I couldn't help it.
How did you hide it from me? Oh, is he that thing under that sheet that you've been bringing with you?
I told you it was just one of those spooky
Okay, the
statues.
elephant could stay.
Good.
I think when he trumpeted, he unearthed some something over here. I think it's some records.
What is that?
I think we should play some of these for the podcast. What do you think?
Go, let's check it out. What's this?
All right, we're gonna play one of some of these records for you guys while we
Prepare
take
to
a
be
little
dazzled.
break.
We're gonna become DJs.
While we go find some food for this elephant.
Food for this.
I think I saw something in the kitchen earlier, so
Peanuts.
let's put this record on.
On a foggy night, in the full moonlight, a creature lurks in the shadows. And as the cold wind blows, and the darkness grows, the beast comes close to your windows. Where darker comes out at night to fill the children full of fright. Tears the flesh with an iron jaw. He breaks the rules and disobeys the law. Where darker comes out at night, he roams the streets looking for a bite. When angry mobs try to take him on, he howls the moon that he's gone. The very next day, the children come to play. They find raw flesh in the road. The children know now, when the black wind howls, to lock the doors and the windows. Because where dark comes out at night, to fill the children full of fright. He tests the flesh with an iron jaw. He breaks the rules and disobeys the law. Where dark comes out at night, he roams the streets looking for a bite. When angry mobs try to take him on, he howls the moon, then he's gone. Then he's gone.
Well, that was something.
Yeah. Interesting.
What'd you think of it? I don't know what a weretucker is, but
I don't either. It sounds kind of terrifying. Iron jaws and ripping claws.
children are afraid of it.
Yeah. They
I
should
don't know,
be.
something like a werewolf, but
I don't know.
I don't think a weretucker would be a little less scary than a werewolf. Depending on the
It's me.
situation.
I think it sounds like it may be an android
Maybe.
because it's got a metal jaw.
I don't know. Maybe that could have been exaggeration.
I don't know.
Well,
Never know.
It was not very well produced, that's for sure.
I don't know. It sounded like a. Well, it was a record, so
Right.
it sounds like it was pretty high quality.
I mean, for the time, I'm sure they did the best that they
right,
could.
right. I'm sure it was great. It was probably really expensive. So
Yeah, I bet. Well, your elephant is well fed.
yeah,
We found some spooky peanuts.
mm-hmm.
Elephants like peanuts, right?
Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
then my mouse came through, and I don't know where your elephant when he ran upstairs, I think, and I'm not going upstairs.
I think he's taking a nap.
That's where all those murders took place. But I'm not sure it's a good idea to have an elephant upstairs.
Well, ghosts get hungry too.
Okay. Well, I found this book
Oh,
while we were listening.
what'd you find there, Tucker?
Is it called Spooky Mystery
Oh, that sounds nice.
Volume 4.
Volume 4.
I think it's an anthology. I don't think we need to read 1 through 3, so.
Yeah, that's fine. What's the title of the little story you're going to be reading out of it?
The title is The Cockatrice's Claw. And it says I have to say the title like that.
Okay.
It's like a director's note.
Interesting.
So let me just blow out the dust. Oh.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, Marcus. I didn't mean to do that.
I feel better.
You should get that crypt dust off you. I think it's poisonous.
I think I like it.
All right. I would now begin. George Bagelman listened to the horrible mashing and gnashing of his lard of a wife, Bernadine, devour the food-shaped mush he had provided from the local fast food store for that night's dinner. The rate at which she shoveled the fried chicken into her mouth and pulled out the clean bones of the, quote, bird made his stomach turn in disgust. Bernadine raised her head, causing the jiggle of her fatty neck, or just the line of fat that had replaced her neck.
This sounds delightful.
What? She replied sharply as George looked her up and down. She was over 400 pounds and sat on her rascal scooter. Her hair was in such a tight perm it looked like it was some kind of wig. She wore a nightgown that was stained from the previous 3 days. She had been wearing it, and on her lip grew her signature prepubescent middle school mustache.
Ooh.
Ignoring her question, he turned to his son, Snarkly, sitting to his left. Snarkly, too, was disgusting. Like his mother, he was overweight, and his hair was fiery red and cut by his mother with a cereal bowl for guidance. The little turd didn't even raise his eyes from the iPad he was shamelessly viewing pornography on. Are you really going to look at that while you're eating? George asked his son. Snarkly sharply raised his head. His wide-set eyes gave him the face of a cow, and his buck teeth pointed outward from his mouth with a permanent upturned lip to accentuate them. Dad! Stay out of my business! Snarkly blurted in a stupid voice. He then whipped his chair back, knocking it over on the ground, and stormed off. Hey, come back here, George demanded. I forgot what voice I did for Bernadine. Hey, don't yell at him, Bernadine snarled. The boy is watching hardcore pornography at the dinner table, George responded. The boy is 13. He is 13. Just leave him alone. Bernadine screams, still shoveling food into her mouth. I'm not going to sit at the dinner table and just watch my son get an erection during dinner. At least someone is getting excited around me. Bernadine snaps, reaching for the bucket of chicken, but George snatches it away before she could reach it. Maybe if you could stop stuffing your face all the time, I'd be more interested in a wife-shaped wife, you Jabba the Hutt looking bitch. Well, the mailman doesn't seem to mind.
This seems like a cautionary
Bernadine
tale.
says smugly, That's right, Reggie is the real man. I hate you, George says, raising to his feet. I wish I never met you! Suddenly, the living room window blows open. George rushes into the room to close them, bucket of chicken still on hand. As he closes the window, he turns to find the living room has somehow been redecorated. Oh, I lost my place. What was once a room filled with months' worth of garbage and debris from his wife's laziness was now a clean room, covered in collectible statues, a big screen TV, and posters from George's favorite movies. What? George said, looking around the room, eyeing the variety of cool statues on the shelves that lined the back wall. Whoa! George exclaimed. Is that the limited edition Blackest Night zombie Batman kissing Marvel zombie Spider-Man statue? You only made 10 of these! Bernadine, where did this come from? Bernadine? George re-entered the dining room. I'm sorry, not the kitchen. Did I say the kitchen? I don't know. This isn't a very good writer. He re-entered the dining room to find Bernadine was gone. He looked the whole house over, finding no trace of Bernadine or his son Snarkly. What's going on? George said. He quickly went to the phone and dialed Bernadine's parents. Hello? Hello? Answered Bernadine's father. Hello, sir, this is George. Have you seen Bernadine? She was just here, and we got into a fight. I didn't know if she came over to your house. What kind of joke is this? Bernadine's father replied angrily. What do you mean? George said, confused. Bernadine choked to death 20 years ago during a hot dog eating / pie eating / chili cook-off triathlon at the state fair. Bernadine's father said, somberly. "Now don't call back, you damn teenager." Then hung up as lightning struck and thunder clapped in the background. George was amazed to find himself speechless. "Oh my God," he stammered. "This is great!" he exclaimed as he skipped through the dining room to find himself in the living room as he noticed a strange light emitting from the bucket of chicken. His stride slowed as he approached cautiously, making his way closer to the bucket. Closer and closer he crept, slowly reaching in and grasped a rigid object producing light. Quickly he yanked it out, revealing a large claw in the shape of a chicken's foot, but much larger than your average chicken. It glowed gold. The foot had 3 fingers. 2 still stood straight, but 1 was permanently curled down. "What is this?" George said, thinking out loud. "I'm the cockatrice's claw." The claw spoke, and in its finest southern drawl. George leapt back, dropping it on the sofa. "Please don't drop me, son. I'm very fragile, you see," the claw said. Sorry, George said. "Now that's okay. It's not every day a fine young gentleman like yourself meets a talking chicken bone," Claw said with a cluck. I'm sorry, with a chuckle. No, he could have been a cluck.
A cluckle?
"I guess you're right," said George as he retrieved the claw from the couch. "So, what are you? How can you talk?" "I'm magic, boy. I'm the foot of a magical beast named a cockatrice. A large, chicken-like monster whose feet, like myself, have the mystical ability to grant 3 wishes. But be forewarned, young man, they come with a cost." But before the claw could finish his explanation, George blared out, "I wish I was rich!" and with that, the claw's middle toe folded in. Without warning, the power goes out, and moments later the telephone rang. "Hello?" George said. "Is this George Bagelman?" the voice said. "Sir, I have some bad news. There was a large earthquake here, and your parents' farm was hit very hard. They didn't survive." "Dear God," George said. "That's not all. The earthquake unearthed a large reservoir of natural oil. The largest found to this day. It seems you're going to be a very rich man. There are already a lot of buyers looking to take the farm off your hands." "Oh, okay, thank you," George said solemnly as he hung up the phone. He slowly turned from the phone. His head hung low as he exclaimed, "I'm rich! Thank you, Claw!" "Yeah, boy, you didn't let me finish. There's something important you need to know about these wishes," the Claw continued. "Not now," George said. "I have to think of my final wish." And suddenly there was a crash from the backyard. Setting down the Claw, he went to investigate. Through the back door, George tried to investigate the cause, but the storm that raged that night blotted out most light. Then suddenly, a lightning bolt streaked across the sky, illuminating the backyard, revealing a large portion of the back fence had been destroyed, and large clumps of grass had been unearthed, leading around the side of the house. He tried to follow the path around the house to the side window from inside the kitchen, but the window was blocked by something. Reaching into the nearby drawer, George produced a flashlight. Testing the light, he pointed it to the ground and slowly raised it to the window. To his horror, the light filled the window, revealing it to be blocked by a monstrous yellow eye. Massive diamond-shaped pupil shrank as the light blinded it. The eye quickly rose out of view as the shockwave of a massive roar, like a foghorn, the brass section of an orchestra, and a pitched-down chicken roar shook the house, cracking the windows and bringing George down to his knees as his ears as his ears he so desperately tried to cover began to pool with blood. George made it to his feet as he ran back to the living room and retrieved the claw. "What is that?" George exclaimed, his voice trembling with fear. "Why, that's the cockatrice, of course," the claw replied. "What is it doing here?" George said. "Well, to judge your immortal soul, of course," the claw said nonchalantly. "What?" George screamed, horrified. "I'll try to tell you. The cockatrice will come to reclaim his claw from the person who makes wishes on it, and depending on the merit and selflessness of your wishes, you will be judged. The honorable will get to live, and the selfish will be eaten alive and digested for the next 1,000 years in the cockatrice's monster tummy," explained the claw. "What do I do?" George said, gripping the claw tightly. "I'd say make that last wish a doozy, 'cause I can hear the cockatrice's tummy a-growling from here," the claw said. "What should I do? What should I do?" George said, pacing in place, the footsteps pounding with each step shaking the house of the cockatrice. "I've got it!" George exclaimed, but just then, through the front window, the cockatrice burst, a beast most horrid. His massive head, the size of a small car, ripped the walls and most of the ceiling, sending George sprawling onto his back. Its mighty beak curved sharply downward and was filled with needle-thin, razor-sharp teeth that gripped George's foot and began to drag him from the house. "I haven't made my final wish," George said as he screamed in pain. "It seems the cockatrice has little faith in your final wish making a difference. Best make it soon, boy. Time is up," the claw said. "I wish..." But as he was about to finish, the bird monster clamped onto his foot harder, causing his words to trail off into a scream. But George refused to give up. "I wish that Hitler stayed in art school." And with that, the claw's final toe folded in, and a white flash filled the room. George came to in an art room. He stood behind an art student, still working hard on his painting long after classes had ended. He looked down to his clothes. His clothes were that of an old-fashioned suit, and where the claw was in his hand now rested a revolver. "Professor," asked the German art student, "what do you think of my painting now?" as he turned to reveal himself to be Adolf Hitler. George reluctantly raised his gun, pointing it at his face. "There's no easy way to say this, but you're about to Van Gogh to an early grave." "What?" Hitler replied, as a muzzle flash filled his face and the world went white once more. The alarm clock buzzed in George's ear as he tapped it and awoke. It was just a dream, George thought to himself. But as he rose, he saw he was not in his small house. He was in a large, polished apartment, and in the bed next to him was a beautiful naked lady. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream? It's a question mark. George moved to the window and pulled back the blinds to reveal he was in a penthouse-level apartment in New York City. And the world had changed. Everything was sci-fi, and there was flying cars and holographic billboards, and it was awesome. His eyes scanned the cityscape. He saw something that brought a look of terror to his face. In the distance, there was a billboard that read, "Star Wars Episode 7, Revenge of the Fallen," directed by Michael Bay, starring Mark Wahlberg, Nicolas Cage, and Kim Kardashian. George's scream filled the room as he dropped to his knees in horror. The end.
That was beautiful.
That was a goddamn scary story.
Dang it, Bobby.
That was a good one, I think.
That was very entertaining.
Well, there's a lot of scary books in here, that's for sure.
There is.
I guess that's it for today. What did you think of this haunted house?
It was pretty cool. It wasn't quite as scary as I thought it would be once we got in here, but I still feel like there's something watching us.
Something waiting in the dark, ready to pounce?
Yeah.
Besides your elephant?
Yeah. Oh, getting a little tired now, though. The sun's about to come out. We haven't slept at all.
It's 3 a.m., Marcus. That's not going to come out yet.
Well, I saw that ghostly figure over there, and I thought it was the sun.
No. Well, do you have any picks for this week? Comic picks?
Comic picks. I had not thought about this at all. We read Moon Knight. Something about Moon Knight.
Read Moon Knight.
Yeah, he cuts people's faces off.
Yeah, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
Just any Moon Knight?
Yeah, any Moon Knight. Sure. I'm the worst.
Okay.
How about you, Tucker? Do you have any recommendations for comic books this week?
I recently read the Secret Wars tie-in that was the Agents of Atlas tie-in. Did you ever read Agents of Atlas? It's like it's based on a what if from...
What if?
It's like, what if the Avengers were formed in 1950 and they used all these weird characters? It's a really old one. And it's like Gorilla Man, M11, who's a robot, Marvel Boy, Namora, and Venus, the god. There's all these old characters that like weren't being used.
Mm-hmm.
They made a what if where like they formed the Avengers.
Huh.
And then like later, in I think it's 2008, a writer named Jeff Parker did a modern version of that with all those characters coming back. And they had a few series. They had a mini-series that was Agents of Atlas, and they had an ongoing that was 11 issues, and they had Avengers versus X-Men and versus Agents of Atlas versus X-Men versus Wolverine, and then versus Avengers. And I haven't read those, but my pick is the original 6-issue miniseries of Agents of Atlas. It's really good.
Awesome.
I'm rereading it because I was going to suggest that tie-in, but because it was really, really good. But it's like I'm not going to suggest a tie-in. That's stupid. So yeah, the original 6-issue miniseries is great.
Stick that to meditate.
Yep. Da-da-da. So hope everyone has a spooky Halloween. We sure did. We're in a haunted house.
Oh, man. Ghosts of Christmas Past will be coming after me.
Well, Marcus.
Great.
That's it. That's the end of the show.
All right, well, we're going to go do an EVP session.
And it's the end of your life. I'm stabbing Marcus right now.